Welcome to Simple Panel Interactions. In this video, we'll create a quick drawing interface using the container comp. Let's double-click on the network, navigate to the Comp tab, and select a container comp. This container comp is a type of panel component that has specific attributes for accessing UI functionality. To access those panel attributes, we need to add a panel chop. So let's double click here, navigate to chops, and select panel. The panel chop reads panel values from panel components into chop channels. We can see that by dragging our container onto our panel chop. You'll know those are connected if you see a reference link dotted line between them. And then we can click on our container, hit the A key, and then if we hover over our container with our cursor, we should see that panel channels are changing. Great, now that we have that, let's navigate to our panel chop and let's select out some specific values. So here we have our select parameter. Let's click on this button here for this parameter, and then we'll see a menu appear of options. We can click U, V, and let's also choose the select and R select. Now that we have those back here on our container, I'm going to click and drag. Once I click and drag, what you'll be able to see is the U and V values are changing, and those are the U, V coordinates of my cursor. Our select is our left button select on our mouse, and then our R select is our right button select on our mouse. Both of those values are 0 when they're not selected, and then 1 when they are selected. Perfect. Now that we have those, let's get started with our drawing interface. I'm going to double click on the network here, and I'm going to add a circle top. We're going to change the radius of our circle top to be 0.02 and 0.02. Great, we have our little circle. And then I want to go ahead and on my comment page here, I'm going to change the resolution to be 1280 by 720. Perfect. Next, let's adjust the center of our circle, the position of our circle, by clicking on the circle page. And here we're going to middle mouse click on our circle parameter. And I am going to, on this value ladder, go left and right just to determine the bounds here for my circle of where it is on this container. I'm going to get a little closer here. And we can see that it goes to about -0.5. While my container goes from 0 to 1. So here on my panel chop, let's right click on it and add a math chop. On the range page, we want to, rather from going from 0 to 1, we want to go to -0.5 to 0.5. So let's change our to range to -0.5 to 0.5. And we want to make sure that we only do that here with our UV. We don't want to change our select values. So our scope on the common page, let's set that to U and V. Great, now our select is behaving correctly as well. Perfect. Let's click on our circle, make our math viewer active, click back on our circle, sorry about that. And then we're going to click and drag our U onto our center X and select chop reference, and then our V onto center Y and select chop reference. Now when I click on my container, we can see that we are controlling the position of this circle. Perfect. Now we want to change the appearance of our circle as well so that when we're not clicking, we don't see that circle. So let's click and drag on our select and let go of it on our radius parameter. Now when we click, we see the circle, but it is way too big. But what we are also seeing is that when we're not clicking, the circle isn't there. So let's modify the size of our radius by clicking on radius so that it expands and multiplying by 0.02. Multiplying here by 0.02. So now when we click, we get that small size that we wanted originally. Perfect. Now that we have those selected, let's keep going. I'm going to right click on my circle and add a feedback top. Perfect. I need to complete my feedback loop here by double-clicking on the network and adding an over top. My circle is going to go into the first input of my over. My feedback is going to go into the second input. I'm going to drag my over onto my feedback to connect that loop. And then I'm going to draw here on my container. And now I can see that I'm seeing that drawing. But let's say I wanted to reset that drawing. Well, what we want to do is we're going to bring this rSelect here onto this reset pulse so we can reset our drawing whenever we right click with our mouse. So let's drag our rSelect onto our reset pulse and select chop reference. Now when I right click, I will reset my drawing. Let's finish this up here by right clicking on our over and selecting a null. I'm going to then turn off my viewer active on my container, drag this null and let go and select background top. Perfect. Next, I'm going to change the width on my container to 1280, the height to 720. And then I'm going to make my container viewer active and zoom in. And now we can see here that we have our drawing interface. We can always right click to erase that. But that is just a quick look at panel interactions inside of TouchDesigner.